Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about the problems I've had. Some of the problems, well, just the other day. Okay, I don't even remember how many days ago it was. I have two things happen back to back. One, delivery, things that I'd ordered to be delivered. Not from the same places, not through the same people. One was for restaurant and the other one was for groceries, kind of thing. Okay, and this one, the first one that happened was with for the restaurant. Okay, now we had problems. We had, the first time we ever ordered any food to be delivered through one of these, delivery services. I don't even remember how many months ago it was, but we waited a long time before we did that, because of, last year, 2020, everything that's going on, and, we really didn't trust it. But then we heard, what the experts say, the voices of authority, say that, yeah, it was, anyway, we took from that, and we ordered. It was $50-something. Okay, and the long and short of it is, I had to call their office because they were saying they weren't going to deliver it, that we were still going to pay for it. Well, I called their corporate office, or the number that it sends it to, and the woman said that she was that because we had the wrong address on there, it just had the city and the zip code, or just the city, that they weren't going to deliver it because it was up to the delivery person if they wanted to go that far. Well, it wasn't that far, for one thing. And I had corrected the address, and she said, well, I saw that. Yeah, you did correct it. And it was a problem with their app, okay? You see? And it had the street address and all that. Well, then she said, well, it's up to them. If not, you're still going to have to pay for it, $50-something. Or it was 48, somewhere around there. I don't know. And I said, well, that's fraud. Like that. Like that. And so the guy delivered. We heated it up. Got food poisoning, both of us. Yeah. So we no longer use that one. Believe me, I did complain and all that. And it was a whole ordeal too. Was to this one was before, to deal with the people, the restaurant, and the restaurant saying, well, it's up to them. I said, no, you are connected to them. I'm ordering from your restaurant, but through their delivery. You're responsible too. It's kind of, because when you hear, seriously, when you hear somebody just blaming the victim, just flat out blaming the victim. No, I'm Texan. I'm not saying all Texans are this way, but I stand up for myself. Okay, and I know this can, for some people, this kind of thing can be dangerous if you stand up for yourself. So I'm not suggesting anybody do it. But anyway, and I want to say this up front here. I've said it in other videos that where I live, I had actually called it, for videos I made, I called it Narcissism Ville. Now, I did not give it a reputation. The reputation, when I first heard about this suburb, and it's not really the whole suburb, okay? It's just parts of it. But I heard that people had a high sense of entitlement, narcissistic kind of behaviors and everything. And that was 30 or so years ago, around then. And it apparently had that before. Well, it's kind of thick. I have lived in many places in my 57 years. And I can go outside of here. I've lived here for most of the past 20 years. I can go outside of here, and a world of difference. Okay, but it's not just this suburb, and it's not just this area around here. It's not everywhere. It's not everything. It's not all one size fits all. It's not all. But in certain areas, yeah, and certain people that they could come from another area, or they are from this area, whatever area, but they have that kind of mentality. I just had another one happen yesterday. I didn't even write that one out, but I started making a video about it. Well, I was making a video, and I had to delete the clips because I was right there when all this happened. We had to go and get gas in my SUV, and then from there on, it started, trouble started, and I deleted some videos, some clips and all. But yeah, it can be anybody. It could be somebody outside, that you have trouble with. So it doesn't have to be that. But that high sense of entitlement thing, that whole narcissistic attitude, it's all about them and nobody else matters, and they don't care if it bothers you as long as they get their way, mentality. Okay, so on these videos about the delivery gig workers and the problems I have and stuff, like I say, it could just be this area. Now, I'm not saying it's only this area. It could be other people in other states, anywhere, any state could have these same kind of issues. But I'm just talking about what I've seen, okay? But I do know that this is, like I said, I call it Narcissism Ville for a reason. It's not everybody. But, yeah. Anyway, so we had go back to the first, restaurant delivery service. And I think they deliver other things too. I don't know what all of them do. But I said, screw that. Well, recently we decided to try again, but through a different one. And the first one, I don't remember exactly what happened. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't like it just, everything was okay, everything was cool, The first time for the second one, okay, and it was like, oh no, I hope this doesn't start again. And then, well, we only ordered one more time. And little did we know, okay, little did I know, I downloaded the app, or didn't download the app. Anyway, I ordered, and one of the first things I noticed is, why did they have it delivered from so far off? And then it was in a different suburb from where I live, when there was just one like within 2 miles down the road. Why would they have it from another one? And there was no way to change it and all this, There was no way to change it. Okay. I'm like, oh my goodness. And, or cancel it. And anyway, before I could even really, I'm new to their, it wasn't an app, but I was new to it. And the trouble started. I'll just put it this way. Problems started with this. And I can't even remember what it was the first time. I don't know if it took off a promotion or something. But anyway, it was a bad experience all around. Okay, they, like I said, they put it in a different suburb of Dallas. And then it shows a map. And most of them I've noticed they do show where they are located on the map. And, like they're delivering and how long it's going to take to get there. And, they send you a time that it's going to be delivered between this time and that time. And this one, I could see the guy on the map. And it was a man. His name, was definitely male. I don't know anyone would call that name. But never in my life. And he was lost. He was going in a direction away from, like the restaurant to pick it up. And the restaurant was to the east of where he was, where he was. And he was going north. And then he just stopped. He just stopped, like he was stopping at his house, kind of stopped, because it was a neighborhood way north from there. And then I got a text saying that it was going to be delayed. Well, I figured, no, it did say that they had to change delivery drivers, and that it was going to be delayed. And it really made me say, well, hold on a minute now. What's going on with my food? In the meanwhile, have they already made it or what? And what's going on with my actual meal? And so I called the restaurant and I said, I see this guy, and he stopped, and and I started talking to the guy that answered the phone, okay? And basically, I can't remember everything that happened. It was just like traumatic from what they were saying and stuff. It was unbelievable. And the guy says, no, when we get the order, I'm going to sum it all up together. Between him and the manager that I spoke to, that when they get an order, they get a ticket. And they look at it in 5 minutes before the delivery person is supposed to be there, they make the meal. Okay. But Then they said they just put it on a table. I said, is that table heated? Is it under a heating lamp? Anything like that? No. They just set it on a table, and the delivery person just comes in and gets it and leaves. I did not like that. I used to work when I was a teenager in restaurants, and one of my sisters owned one. And that's not very safe to just have somebody's meal sitting there, even though they're in this little, styrofoam or whatever. Because I'm adding the story all together. As it turned out, the person had gotten delayed. And it was like, I don't know how long. And I said, so my meal would be sitting there and that person would be late and you wouldn't know it. So you just get the ticket 5 minutes and you put it up? Do they inform you that the driver is going to be late? I'm summing up a few phone calls too, okay? The guy said that he had to remake it, okay? Because the delivery person, he said that she is picking up. Well, it wasn't a she, it was a he. That same guy apparently went home, did whatever he wanted to do, then went back, then went to pick it up, and then deliver it. Well, it took 20 minutes from the time they made it. I was livid, and I even called the one close and said, they need to report this, that instead of it, here I am, I live here, and instead of it going to your store, which is, like I said, under 2 miles away, I said, they sent it to this other suburb, which they know the suburb, and told them about that, and they said, yeah, that's wrong, it shouldn't be doing that. So I said, you need to have your manager, and that person said they were going to write it down to, have their manager report that to the delivery service, that this is going on. Okay, that they're sending it to other suburb. They shouldn't. Well, anyway, one of the person at the place kept at the delivery service, I called to complain, and they kept trying to tell me that I put it in there for that thing. I said, no, I didn't do it. Blaming the victim. That seems to be a favorite thing. So anyway, you got it. Like this other one that happened, they said auto-generated, which store, which place they're going to do. They're going to get them from. Well, that's what happened here. I didn't do it, but he kept trying. And then he said, well, I'm going to see what's available for me to help, how I can help you. And he came back and said, I can give you $10 off. I said, no, you're going to refund my whole amount. And he did. Yeah. I said, no, I did not order food that was going to be delayed and possibly make me ill if they didn't keep it warm. I said, did they keep it warm? Well, no. I'm like, really? Wow. The delivery. He said, yeah, it's 17 to 20 minute drive for them. And no, I did not. I kept trying. Oh my goodness, they kept trying, that guy. And anyway, this, like the other one, they had this thing about, well, it's going to do what it's going to do, and they're not going to do anything about it kind of mentality. And I can do something about it, and that is, goodbye. There went my membership. I deleted it. I deleted my credit card from there. I unsubscribed to getting in their constant, like daily, emails. We'll give you this much off, this much, $5, this much. So, anyway, and I will no longer use that service. I mean, it's that simple for me. Why would I want something that they're going to make excuses and blame the victim of their, incompetency? Really, and their screw-ups. Why? Why would I do that? Okay. Yeah. Let me see. I had written down some notes. Like I had said, that about the action. I mean, seriously, I had even said, I don't know what it's called these days, but the health department or whatever it is these days. But what would they say if they knew that these places were just making their orders and sitting them on a table that's not heated, that doesn't have a heating lamp, nothing, and they don't know? I mean, that period, full stop there, but I can go on and say that they don't know if the delivery people are going to be late. they're not going to be informed, so they're doing it 5 minutes before the time they're supposed to be there. But I have had 2 times that they've had to change drivers. Okay, so anyway, let's see, what else have I not mentioned? I mentioned that it took 20 minutes to get here. And get here. I don't live on the street, but to get to my home. Okay. And let's see. Oh, and I don't know if it was the first time that I did this that they had to change drivers, and that took away the coupon. Didn't get on the second one. That happened to me in another place in the next one too. Okay. Like they give you this, you get $5 off, you get $10 off, you get whatever off of whatever you're ordering, whether it's, restaurant or, groceries or whatever. But then they have to change drivers, and then you lose that. So you have to be the one to call and say, look, your app isn't doing this right. What happened to my, promo? The customer really should not have to be that involved, in my view. If they had it together, it should run smoothly. It should not be this kind of thing that there's always an issue. And one of the places I told him that this should not happen, and she agreed, every time. So, anyway. And, that of them telling me that it was, the woman had come and picked up my thing. Now, I've heard people say that some of these places, some of these gig workers, they'll work with 2, they'll have more than one person doing each one. Whether they go shopping together or whatever it is, like a couple, a married couple, male, female married couple, or just together. And so when the guy told me that it was a woman, yet the person actually sent to me a text after he dropped it off, and it was a male. Okay, so anyway, so why would that restaurant lie to me? Lying is just like, it's okay to them. Okay, so like I said, it just could be this area. When I was out doing my own shopping and stuff, which lately I've had to do a few things. I hadn't in a year, about a year, really, hadn't at all. One time I think I went to the pharmacist, because the doctor told me to talk to the pharmacist, and had the pharmacist show me how to do something, and it was something I couldn't use anyway, as it was insulin, and yeah, I couldn't, but anyway, other than that, I hadn't until last month, okay, for like almost a year, hadn't been into any place other than that one time. And lately I've had to go into places. Now, before all this, I'd tried the delivery stuff, and there were issues, like, I don't think we'd ever done, we've done, of course, like Chinese food, and they deliver and stuff like that, or pizza, or whatever. Never really had any trouble. But now, oh my goodness, and you would think, especially now after like a year or more, for depending on what it is, they would have it together. Okay, but where I live, you don't see that much, and you don't see many people staying in any job very long either. Okay, in my experience, not yours, mine, is that, and it might not be that for everybody. But anyway, when I was doing the shopping myself, I would see other people have problems because of the mentality. I would have problems myself because of the mentality. Like some people would just come into the store and bump right into you because you're in their way, kind of thing. Or like you're standing there about to reach for something, they stick their hand in front of your face. Okay, really, customers, I had that happen so many times, it was unbelievable. Well, after, once I started doing this stay home, stay safe, because, I'm 57, I'm diabetic, I have an adrenal disorder, I was one of those vulnerable people, and I think I had it back in February of last year, Anyway, and no test and all that stuff, no antibodies and all that stuff back then, you know. But, and mine was mild, but I was a long hauler too. But anyway, since I haven't been doing all the shopping, my blood pressure went to normal, okay? Seriously, consistently. And, but just dealing with these, I get aggravated. And I think the biggest thing is, you know, the behaviors are rather narcissistic, seriously. And like I said, I didn't give it this reputation. This place had it before I even knew of the place. You know, the area isn't, like I said, it's not the whole suburb. But anyway, you know, I've had so many problems, and what it boils down to is disrespect. It's a lack of respect for others that I see. Now there are other parts to it, but the real big one is the disrespect for other people. No respect for anybody else. It's all about them. You know, they have that entitlement. They, you know, like I said, I just had another experience yesterday, and it was that's what made me think, you know, really it comes down to that whole disrespect for other people. It's the lack of respect, but disrespect too. Okay. I don't know how to define the differences, but you know, it's like I'm not only going to not respect you, but I'm going to make it even worse, maybe something like this. And you know, and I know a lot of people have said, well, I have seen it in every other place. You know, I've seen it here. Well, okay, maybe you have seen it there, but it's not in every other place. Like I say, I can go any of these suburbs or go into Dallas. I don't see that as much. And I just had to go to Dallas again last week. Was it last week or, yeah, sometime. I think it was last Tuesday of last week, and today is Thursday. So, and I had to go into Dallas, and I had to go into a store while I was there because it's like an hour where I was an hour, say an hour away, and an hour there to drive there, an hour to drive back. You know, so I had to go into a store, and while I was there, and yeah, I'm just gonna say, it wasn't you know, the difference was night and day, but still, you know, that of going into a store after all this time, yeah, it was kind of a little. But really, you know, when I really think about it, it was, yeah. I went to that store, and then I went to another one, and because I didn't know how long I was going to be waiting there. I needed to get certain items, and that I could only get at one store. I'm going to put a video up about that. But it was that of some people not doing the social distancing thing, but nothing like the attitudes I see here. Okay, I don't know. I'll make it clearer. And well, I already had made that video about, you know, and I was complaining, you know, that people weren't socially distancing. Some people, not all, in the majority, yeah. But here, not even. It's not just here. Like I said, it's not just this. This suburb. It's the certain areas around this suburb, including the suburb, but other suburbs, just like connected. Some people have, you know, like one guy told me one time, yeah, it's like between this street and that street, which goes over 2 or 3, actually 4 maybe, suburbs. You know, that between those, that's where you have the trouble, and it's true. It's very true. I said the same. But, and outside of them, it's just night and day, unless the people live there and go, that's how I see it. Anyway, yeah. And during much of it, I didn't even come down to, you know, come to this park or any place really. I just started doing this again yesterday, day before, whenever. But I didn't because for a while, because I would, and you know, last year, and just seeing people walking around here without the face covering when it's mandatory. That has the effect of law. You know, that's what I'd read. Mandatory order. Okay. But no, and they were passing one another, you know, they're walking, and they're in Texas, from what I heard yesterday, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was CNN, I guess. Or maybe not. But it was saying that Texas, or the other day, is number 3 in whatever as far as what's going on in the world today. And we should not be. I agree. I've got videos about that up already. But I'd stopped coming down here because it would aggravate me so much. It really would just annoy me that, people just being so rebellious. And some people say, well, you're outside. Still, they're passing one another. They're passing one another, walking, huffing and puffing. Not safe. I cannot imagine anybody saying that's safe. And when they're huffing and puffing, and some of them are running and riding their bicycles and whatever, or some of them sitting out in the park, not wearing masks, and there are children running up, and other adults there. So, yeah, I'm just getting all of it out. But I have a whole nother one that I want to do. I think I'll wait until tomorrow or something to do this one. And then, like I said, I had yet another one yesterday, which is the same thing, like going into a store or whatever to get something, and they're not even paying attention to that their customers are waiting. They're chit-chatting with one another kind of thing. Yeah. But I have those. But, the thing about it is, I also want to mention is not everything is bad in my life. Not everything is bad. But these are things I think that I see. I want to point out this is not good behavior. And I think, my personal opinion, I could be wrong, but as a sociologist, social and behavioral scientist, I'm going to say this. I taught at college and university, by the way, that if nobody points stuff out, the behaviors only worsen. And some will tell you that no, the behaviors are never going to change, and on and on and on. But if some people, they just don't realize, that's not good customer service, or that's not good whatever, or they don't realize that their app is wrong. Somebody has to point it out to them, and I've had places say, well, we would not have known that, had a clue. But now that you told us, we know. And that can happen. I mean, seriously. But like I've already said, sometimes things like that can be dangerous. And whatever somebody does, I'm not giving them any advice. I'm not telling them what to do. And everybody, when you do something, you pay the consequences of your actions and inactions. So anyway, I better wrap this up because I don't think I even have enough room to edit it and all that. And I'm using my phone. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.